everyone, I'm Kristen, the Cross Stitching Runner, and welcome to my channel. I just want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers, and if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. And today is Saturday the 16th of December, and I am wanting to share with you a whole heap of Christmas stitching that I've done over the last couple of weeks. And all of it is based around the Decision Maker app and the Christmas themed projects that I either have in existence or have started because of the charts that I have in my collection. So I'm really looking forward to sharing with you the new starts or the progress that I've made on my whips, and let's get into it. So the first project I have to share with you is not Christmas themed, rather a summery themed project. And that has been part of the joy of this Decision Maker app, where I've included a lot of the Christmas themed projects that I want to work on, but I've also included some summery themed ones just to break it up a little bit. And the interesting thing with this app is I've allowed it to repeat cells or repeat selections rather. And this is where the I Count My Lucky Stars chart has been the first one to come up that isn't Christmas themed, and it hasn't been repeated yet. So I Count My Lucky Stars is a chart that I've designed and is available on my Etsy store and the Hot Cross Stitching website as well. The Etsy store is by the same name of Hot Cross Stitching. It is also early in the morning. I'm still waking up a bit, not as early as what it could be. It is at the moment nearly 10 to 9, and I have had a brilliant sleep in. That is completely off topic. But the point here is that my brain hasn't fully switched on, and I really hope you can bear with me on this one. So this is my progress on I Count My Lucky Stars, and when I last shared with you my progress on this piece, I had learned quite a bit about this little blue variegated patch we see on the right-hand side here, or yeah, my right-hand side. And I have learned that with this particular variegated thread that it is still a joy to stitch with on some different fabric that isn't 28 count 1/1. And I'm hoping that I can find an improved or different piece that I can work on for that thread. If you've got any suggestions, I would love to hear it. I think any project that I do go to work on with that variegated thread would potentially be on 14 count Ada, I think. That would potentially be the better choice, and perhaps doing 10 stitch with it. And that's what I was doing with this variegated thread. I was doing 10 stitch, and it was definitely doing a fantastic job of giving that really great solid coverage. That said, when I Count My Lucky Stars came up as the decision for yesterday, I did a bit of a floss drop of the cottons that I have in my stash, and these are variations of DMC and other threads that I've received over the recent years or purchased in recent years that are still stranded cotton but are outside of the DMC wheel. And with the drops of flosses that I did the comparisons with, I decided to settle on this little patch that we see stitched here, and it is a DMC thread of 3766, stitching a 1/1 full cross, and I am so much happier with that decision because it is a really beautiful shade that I think complements a lot of the colors that we see in the words that have been stitched. And they've been stitched in the watercolors by Karen. and it's part of the Karen collection, and it's called Tequila Sunrise. And this is this really beautiful, soft silk that is stranded cotton, which doesn't make quite a lot of sense, but it's 12 ply silk and it's stranded silk. I really, really can't rave enough about this because I've not used a lot of silks for stitching, and it just feels so good, so nice on my hands to stitch with. So for anyone who is watching this and has stitched with silks before, you'll definitely understand where I'm coming from. And if by chance you haven't stitched with silk before, I really do hope that you find the right combination for you in terms of the chart that you want to stitch on and the silks that you want to use. And it might just be I Count My Lucky Stars being that chart that helps you to find some silks to work with. So with that in mind, this is the first time I've worked on this project for what feels like maybe a month. And last night I got perhaps a little over 100 stitches done. And I'm looking forward to getting more progress done on this piece and really seeing that border just go and come to life and really frame out that beautiful quote of I count my lucky stars every day that you are in my life. So I'll stop raving on about it and move on to the next project that I've been able to work on. The next project I have to share with you is one that has surprised me a bit because it is a piece that I haven't worked on before, but it is part of a trio of cross stitch cards that I have stitched its companion pieces to, and ones that have actually surprised me in terms of enjoying how much, or being surprising myself how much I enjoy stitching them, because the complementary pieces that go with this chart I'm about to share with you, I have actually stitched a few times already for different people, or to slowly build up my collection to eventually be able to gift to people as Christmas cards. So to share with you is these charts that have been designed by Emma Congdan. And I know that Emma is a favourite designer amongst many of us cross stitchers, because I have definitely seen on many of the Flosstube episodes of other people that they've stitched on many other charts designed by Emma. And by memory, she's also released a book of her own of a whole heap of these wonderful types of charts. And I'm envious of her talent and the popularity of her charts and the ease of which they are to stitch. So the first project out of these three that I have to share with you, is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And with these three charts, Emma recommends that we use 18 count Ada, and I guess we can use the recommended colors for it as well. And just before I go any further into what I've actually stitched and all those other fun bits, these three charts by Emma are out of the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas book, volume 18, no, 2018, volume 19. And this is where I am at. I've chosen to stitch Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas on 18 count navy blue Ada, and the colours that I'm using are by Brindabella Threads, and this is the colour. And the really awesome and exciting thing about Brindabella Threads is they're Australian and they are local to me. They're Canberran, and that's where I just feel super proud and excited about using these threads, because it's I just love knowing that I am supporting a local business or multiple local businesses, because aside from this being an Australian hand-dyed company creating people, whatever extra words I can use on this one, I had also purchased this through a local Canberra business, and I, I'm lost for words. So I have stitched or worked on this particular piece over maybe 2 to 3 days. I think it's probably closer to 3 days, and I really am enjoying all of this. And what I love with these threads is just how subtle they are in the variegation. And you'll see why I'm loving the subtlety of the variegation when we come up to a complementary card that I'm stitching out of the three cards that Emma has designed. So I'm looking forward to this coming up a bit more over the next few days at least. Just before I get into sharing with you the next project that I've been working on, a little bit of a behind the scenes thing for this particular episode. As part of the way that I'm doing the filming for the segments, I'm using this coach element or coaching option that is part of the software that I'm using for this episode. And it's been interesting using this coaching feature because it tells me when, or it doesn't specifically tell me when, but once I finish recording the little segment, it tells me, I guess, the amount of filling words that I've used that I've repeated multiple times throughout the little segment, which has meant that I've recorded this particular section or segment so many times that I've nearly lost count, and potentially in a good way of not keeping count, because this particular coaching function has helped me understand when I've been saying the word too many times. For example, when I tried recording this little segment just before, I'd used the word about 11 times. I had potentially used the word really 4 or 5 times. And it also gives me an understanding of how interesting I am. So the intonations, the flow of my voice, it gives a bit of a graph or up and down, and how engaging my voice sounds. So that has very much been an interesting coaching for me. Just an interesting tidbit behind the scenes for filming Flosstube. I don't know if many other people who do the filming of Flosstubes do this at all, though when I am watching other people doing Flosstube, I do pay a little bit of attention to how they're speaking and how engaging they are. And I love that we are all so different, and that there are some people who are absolutely brilliant with the way they do their storytelling and how engaging they are. And I think that is such a wonderful thing. And it is something that I inspire to try and improve on, and know that with improvement and I guess noting down what I'm wanting to say, that it is definitely giving me that encouragement to know that it can work, I can get there. So that said, let's actually get into this next bit of stitching, and fingers crossed I don't repeat too many of my filling words and I can keep this really interesting for you. Okay, Let It Snow is the next piece that I had actually been working on or had started a couple of years ago, and this is the chart or the recommended finished piece. and it is designed by Jenny Vanderweil, and it comes out of the World of Cross Stitching magazine, issue number 274. And I really do like this edition because it's got so many cute little pieces in it that can make life really interesting with the stitching that we get to do. So with Let It Snow, the recommended pieces or the recommended fabric that we use is 14 count Ada, and that it's I guess as we've seen in the cover piece for it, it's recommended using this sky blue type of fabric, and I wanted to personalize it a bit. So as we can see, I've used 18 count navy blue Ada, and the words "Let It Snow" were an interesting challenge to stitch at the time because I was using 18 count Ada and still using the recommended threads of doing 3 strands of B5200 and 2 strands of the DMC metallic silver thread. And I found that challenging, especially using 3 strands of a DMC stranded cotton, because it just had this extra bit of bulkiness and friction that I've not experienced too much. And as much as I had initially grumbled about stitching with 3 strands for this piece, I think it was still a really good thing to do because it's given it this extra level of dimension that I don't think this piece would have gotten with just 2 strands or 1 strand of any given color. And over the last couple of spins that the decision wheel has brought up for me for this piece, this is where the snowflakes have come into life, and I love it. This is where the personalization has really kicked in, is the choice of thread colors that I have used for this piece. So the actual chart recommends these continued use of B5200 and the DMC metallic threads, and the differences is the number of strands still that may be required for it to again give those snowflakes that different level of dimension. So what I've done instead is use the colour and cotton threads that I've received from the Black Needle Society's Gilmore Girl Stitch and Retreat boxes. And what I've done is, for the snowflakes that just need to be stitched in back stitch, I'm using 403 AM, and then with the snowflakes that need to be stitched with full crosses, I'm using Love Rocket. And initially, even on screen, just holding these 2 types of flosses up, and as I'm looking at them while I'm talking with you, it doesn't look like there's much of a variegation in either colours. Yet, as I started stitching them, especially with the grey snowflakes, I could really start to see the variegation in the colours, and I'm just super proud, super chuffed with how it's coming about. So I hope that Let It Snow comes up a few more times throughout the month of December so I can really get that piece finished, because in my stash of quilting fabric, I have some fat quarters that are winter themed. So winter themed, or especially Christmas themed, that is the extra exciting bit, that I'm hoping to be able to use that fabric to help with the framing process. I have considered turning some of these pieces into pillows, though I'm thinking framing might be the preferred option for me at least. My mind will probably change quite a few times by the time I have it finished, and who knows? Who knows? I'm just enjoying the process right now, and I'm also looking forward to sharing with you the next few pieces that I've been working on. Jingle All the Way is the next piece that I have to share with you. And this piece makes me chuckle a little bit because I think this one has been the most stitched on piece since I've been using the Decision Maker wheel for the month of December. And I'm chuckling with it because I'm seeing the most progress on this piece. So, to put into context, Jingle All the Way is one of the pieces that goes with Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And it's designed by Emma Congdan. So this is the three pieces. And again, it's out of the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas book. It is volume 19 from the year 2018. And Jingle All the Way, I have gone all out with the personalization on this one. I am stitching this on 14 count hater, but it is this sky blue color, and it is very much not the traditional colors for Christmas. However, when I had initially been doing a floss drop for this piece when I started it near the start of December, I was just going, okay, look, what sort of colors could complement this fabric color? And I really wanted to use a variegated thread that I had in my stash. And I decided to use Dinky Dyes. So there we go. So again, excitement because it's an Australian based silk. But what made me chuckle a bit when I had turned over the back of the little card to start using some of the thread is that it's called Jamie's Christmas. That had been absolutely unintentional, and that's why it really made me chuckle. So this is where I've really tried to make the most of the variegated colours and adjust a little bit for where I've used some of the colours just to have a bit more of a flow that made sense for some of the colours. So this is also where the border is starting to do my head in a little bit. I hope I can get there. Similar to what I was saying about have yourself a merry little Christmas, and that I could photocopy the chart and I could mark it off as I go. That would, for much of a muchness, help me with not getting so lost for where I'm at. I also think that if I wasn't using a variegated thread, then it may not matter so much about how I was stitching the border. What I'm also chuckling about is with this piece, I think I had a few years ago stitched Jingle All the Way, and I definitely had stitched Let It Snow using the variegated DMC threads. And when I had stitched those two pieces, what I had done was, for example, if I was stitching this part of the border, I would have the fabric around this way. And then when I would need to turn a corner to then stitch this part, I would have the fabric up this way. And I would sort of rotate the fabric around, thinking, oh yeah, look, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. The direction of the stitches, they'll still appear the way they should. And then as I had once I had finished the piece and I looked closer at it, some of the stitches were actually facing around the other way because of how I was rotating the fabric. And it made me chuckle because with cross stitching, whilst there aren't too many rules with it, making sure that your stitches are facing a uniformed way, regardless of which way they're going to be, as long as they're all facing the uniformed direction, you're fine. So it made me chuckle that I broke one of the rules in cross stitch, but I think for much of a muchness, when you're holding the piece back and looking at it, it doesn't matter. And for anyone who doesn't do cross stitch, and if they receive it as a gift in some way, shape, or form, I think they're just going to be taking the piece in as it is and love it for what it is, because they know that you or I or anyone who has stitched something for them, they they will love it as the gift. And especially if they have been around you as a stitcher and have seen you put any stitches into any piece, they'll start to appreciate that you have put so much time, love, and effort into it. And if they know you well at all, they know that you love what you do. So you put a bit of love and a little bit of yourself into that piece. So I think that is something I'll just need to accept and love. It also makes me think a little bit of Harry Potter, and especially the last few books or the last few movies where Voldemort has these Horcruxes, and it's a way that he has split himself up to prevent him from being able to be properly killed. And it's not until all of the Horcruxes are gathered together that it is almost like he's then this one whole person again, that then enables Harry to finish him off. So that is my basic understanding. And if you are a fan of Harry Potter, and I've completely butchered that way of thinking, or not way of thinking, sorry, but if I have misspoken in any way of that description of what the Horcruxes are and what they mean and such, please let me know. And I'm so sorry. I really am sorry. So let's get back to cross stitching and the very last piece that I've actually worked on for this stitching, because by then we'll actually be up to date with all of the Christmas stitching that I've done, and I'll then be able to spin the wheel for what I will be doing for today at least. Hopefully there will be still some time left in the day, but I'll get to that a little bit later on. Awesome. So, Merryful, yeah, not Merryful, Merry Christmas or Merry Colourful Christmas is a Tilton Crafts chart, and I'm so sorry for the glare. Let's see if I can bring this just a little bit closer. I hope you can see the piece. So this is what it should hopefully look like when it's done. And this was a piece that I started several years ago. I don't remember exactly when I had started it. And when this piece came up in the wheel spin, because I'd remembered that I'd started it a few years ago, I couldn't remember where I'd put the fabric and my initial start, because I was hoping to be able to just pick up from where I left off. So annoyingly, I needed to start again. And this is where I'm at. I've started in the top left corner, and it took me a little bit to really get into the groove for this piece. I've perhaps done a little over 100 stitches on this, and what caused me to delay the start on this, because when this has actually come up twice in the special wheel thing, and I respun because I wanted to try and find the fabric and my very simple start that I'd done. And knowing my luck, when I go to Canberra later today, I'll most likely find my initial start on this. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I might stitch this twice. We'll wait and see. That said, I'm thankful that I have actually restarted this, because it's just giving me this an additional perspective of something fun to do. And I actually needed to frog a little bit of it as well, which annoyed me to no end, because I wasn't going to be able to properly frog it. I had miscounted a little bit, and rather than leaving a 2 square space between two different colours, I had left a 3 square space, and I had stitched roughly a similar amount to what we see here, and it was just going to throw the entire piece out of balance. And my way of thinking of how I'd frog it was just going to be too annoying. So annoyingly, I did unpick it, and I'm actually thankful that I did. And I hope that I can get this to come up again through the rest of December, so I can get some more solid work done into it. I'm using all of the Colourful colours, and I'm stitching this on another type of even weave. This might be Joberlin as well, I can't remember. It has a slightly rougher feel to it. It has a slightly firmer feel compared to the Joberlin that the Scottie dog sampler is being stitched on. And I've used this fabric on the 12 Days of Christmas, and I think I've perhaps used this fabric on some other projects as well, or they'll definitely fit for some of the other projects like these little cards. I could probably stitch these on the Strobel stuff, or even weave as well. Anyway, I I do hope it comes back up again, and I almost hope that I don't find the fabric that I'd stitched my initial start on. That way I won't feel so bad. And if I do eventually come across my piddly little start of Merry Full Christmas, it's not Merry Full, Merry Colourful Christmas. Hopefully I can reuse it. I'll probably, because it had been a little start in the corner like we saw just before, it'll be really easy to sort of cut it out and totally reuse the fabric for a very different piece. We'll wait and see. So that is that for all of my stitching so far. And what I'm looking forward to doing is bringing up the stitching wheel, the decision maker wheel. And so this is the wheel. And let's see, I'm going to get the volume up just a little bit as well. So actually with this app, it's a free app on the Android thing, and it actually makes a sound when it does the spin. So cool. So I count my lucky stars. So I get to do a bit more work on the blue border, which will be super, super cool. And we'll wait and see what happens over the next few days for the stitching. So, with that in mind, I now have a bit of sort of life update stuff. And if by chance you're not really all that interested in any of the life stuff, that's totally okay. There's no worries. And I really thank you, absolutely thank you for your time so far. And if you have enjoyed seeing the different stitching that I've been doing, and you'd like to see more of it and be notified of future episodes that come up, please make sure you click on that like button. Make sure you subscribe, and when you subscribe, click on that bell icon, because that's going to notify you of the future episodes that I go to record and upload into YouTube. So again, thank you so much for your time. And if you're going to stick around, let's get into a bit of the life stuff. Summer has well and truly arrived here in Australia, especially with my corner of the world. And weirdly enough, it is super quiet here at Wollongong at the moment. I think a lot of people are sleeping in from all of their life that they did, or living that they did last night. Friday nights are notorious for being super noisy and people being out and enjoying life and enjoying being social and sharing with the world how noisy their motorbikes can be, and letting the world know how awesome they think their sound system may be in their cars and such, and letting the world know just how well their motorbikes and cars can rev. And it is what it is, city living. And it was a bit of a warm night last night as well. And a part of the mistake that I made was trying to leave the windows open a bit to let some fresh air come in. That helped a little bit, but it also brought in a lot of the noise that comes with the Friday night of living in the city. So I tried to make the most of sleeping in this morning when I could, and I've become used to waking up a bit earlier in the morning. So my boyfriend, he loves fishing. He's near obsessed with it, in a good way though. And I love that with us living here, or since we've been living here, because it's been a bit over 12 months that we've been living here. He's gone fishing nearly every day, and I love that. It had been one of the reasons why I wanted to try and get a job somewhere near the coast. So he would be able to get out and about, get that line thrown in, and as a result of him being able to go fishing nearly every day, I have loved hearing the stories he's brought back from fishing, because all he does is he just heads down to the beach, the Wollongong City beach, and just walks up and down the beach there and throws a line in to see what happens. And some days are quiet, some days are super busy for him with the number of fish that he catches, or the different types of fish that he may catch. And the really great thing with the beach as well is that one half of it is a dog friendly section. So he also loves dogs. So there'll be some people walking along the beach with their dogs, and he'll sometimes have the dogs come up to him and want pats, or they'll initially be a bit suspicious of what he's doing. And then when they realize that he is a friendly person and he's happy to give them a pat, they'll be like, "Oh, you're going to give me a pat? Okay, yeah, yeah, I'm happy for that pat," or anything similar to that. And sometimes the dogs will be quite curious about what he's doing, and when they realize, "Oh, you caught a fish, is that fish for me? Can I have that fish?" He has some challenges of trying to release the fish, so getting the fish off the hook to help release it back into the ocean and that, and not have the dog then, or dog cat, get the fish before he's properly unhooked it. So that has definitely proven to be an interesting challenge for him. And it has just been super cool to hear those sort of stories. And there's also been some times when he has seen pods of dolphins swimming past, and occasionally I've been able to see the dolphins as well as part of the runs that I do on the concrete path that goes parallel to the beach. There's also been a time when he's been able to see some whales swimming close by as well. So that has just been super, super awesome. So this is also where it it has been nice to sleep in, because Michael's actually in Canberra at the moment, and I'm going to be heading down to Canberra this afternoon because I've got a family Christmas do, and it'll be good to see some of my relatives who I haven't seen for at least 12 months or longer, and catch up with them, find out what's going on in their lives as well. And it'll just be, yeah, really, really cool. And I've got Monday off work as a flex day, and it is going to be a short working week, because next week we'll be finishing up from work on Friday the 22nd, and then it's Christmas holidays. It has been a busy year. I don't know about you, but for nearly everyone that I've spoken with at work, at least, we're all feeling tired, and there's been different things that have happened in people's lives to cause us to feel tired as we are. So I'm looking forward to next year and seeing what it brings. And there will, I think, be at least one more Flosstube episode from me before the new year. So this is where I am very much looking forward to seeing what more Christmas stitching I can do. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens for the new year with stitching, and hopefully, if all goes well, getting more stuff done with hot cross stitching. It has been a neglected thing, unfortunately, and I need to amp it up and improve on what I am doing with hot cross stitching. I've said that a few times, and I need to kick myself up into action and get it happening. So I love you and leave you. And I hope that you all have a wonderful Christmas. And I hope that the world is kind to you. And I hope that you get a lot more Christmas stitching or any kind of cross stitching done between now and the next time I see you. See you.